Hello, Lamer Gamers. This is Simply Travis and
Rowdy 5000.
And we've recently transported ourselves into an astral plane consisting of corrupted data. We have this big scary chimera on a leash that's been super ornery. But good news, we've recently brought in the dog whisperer, Caesar Milan, to help us tame... I'll be good. To help us tame... our wild chimera beast, so we can hopefully use him or her. Is it him or her? What's its name anyway?
Yeah, man, they don't really have names. It's just they're called legions. Like 5 of them, just legion.
It's kind of sad. I'm gonna make a name for him. I'm calling him Captain Pain Sparkles.
Yeesh.
Anyway, so now we're gonna take on this chimera horde with Captain Pain Sparkles. So we better hurry up and record episode 12 of the Lamer Gamers podcast.
Snap.
Today, we're going to talk about the games we've been playing, such as Astral Chain, Rad, Bard's Tale 4, Kingdom Come Deliverance, and our favorite mobile games as requested online. Then we'll jump into the news and views section, including updates from PAX, the Nintendo Direct on September 4th, along with a new segment called Nerd Alert. Nerd Alert's going to be a monthly or so?
Monthly-ish
segment where we take a very close look at the technical intricacies of gaming, with today's topic being console gaming audio formats.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's going to get nerdy up in here.
I'm going to sleep during that part.
Yeah. So, afterwards, we'll jump into the rumor sections we like to call fake news to discuss yet another patent leak.
Meh.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot of fake news because there's a whole bunch of stuff announced. To end the show, we're going to talk about a recent milestone on our podcast and talk a bit about where the show is going. So,
enough talking. Cue the music.
So, Rowdy, what have you been playing lately?
Okay, so I beat Fire Emblem for the 3rd time.
How many times have I beaten Fire Emblem?
None. But we do promise, we do have a Fire Emblem spoiler cast / kind of review.
Sort of, maybe?
I mean, we're not going to put a number on it, but we're going to give our opinions and if we think you would like it or not. But beyond that, I started Astral Chain. I'm a few hours into it. And it's pretty awesome, man. If you like Platinum games, you're going to like Astral Chain. Now, their big game was Bayonetta. This is what I found them.
Oh, yeah.
They've done more. And I absolutely love the first 2 Bayonetta games. I mean, they were also very much like the Devil May Cry games. Somebody from the Devil May Cry camp came in to make Bayonetta games. Don't remember who. But Astral Chain, it's not as action-packed as Bayonetta is. But it's kind of cool because it's part, I guess you could call it part L.A. Noire. Mm-hmm. Because you do have to go out to crime scenes and you have to find clues and things like that. Then you have to piece together the crime. Then you have to hunt down the chimeras that are pulling people into their astral plane.
They need to get Caesar Milan on that. They should be able to control their pets.
It's pretty crazy.
I'm just saying.
But you get
leash laws.
You get what's called legions, which are basically your tamed chimeras, which they're not that tamed. You'll find out in the story.
I have a German Shepherd like that. He just unplugged your laptop cord about 10 times today.
Yeah. It's the computer we're recording on.
Yeah, I mean, I have a German Shepherd that's gigantic, and he currently has 2 crests. It's also the crest of a horse and the crest of a
beast
pig, because that's his name. Oh, yeah, and then it's a crest. It's got 3 crests.
Yeah.
And then a bear. What was it?
I call him Horse Bear Pig.
He's a giant German Shepherd. He's now, I think, 115, 120 pounds.
Christ, man.
He's a big puppy.
But beyond Astral Chain, I started playing Rad, which is this cool game by Double Fine. Also didn't know it was published by Bandai Namco until I started playing it.
Important question, though.
What's that?
Is it rad?
It's very rad.
Awesome.
In multiple ways.
Ooh.
Basically, this takes place after the second apocalypse. Yes, second apocalypse. And it's basically, it's almost like a roguelike, I guess you could say. You start out, you have a baseball bat, and you just start whacking enemies. You absorb their radiation, then you get mutations once your radiation bar fills out. And then that can be used as other weapons. Like the first mutation I got was the boomerang arm. So I have my bat that I use to hit everything, but then I could throw my whole arm as a boomerang to hit stuff.
Does it come back?
Oh, yeah.
All right, just checking.
I also got a scorpion tail at one point. But then, obviously, like a roguelike, you die and then start the whole thing over. And I'm not sure if it's procedurally generated yet, but after starting over, or after dying a couple times, I did start over in new places. So that's kind of cool. I'm only about, I don't know, hour and a half into it. Pretty good game so far. And then I've been trying to knock out a lot of the SNES games.
Oh, yeah. We're going to be talking about those coming up here, too.
It's so fun.
In just a bit. Super Nintendo games are on the Switch. We're going to be talking about that when we talk about the Direct here in a bit. So I played some games that I was excited about that are coming out to the Game Pass. I haven't played them that much because Rowdy has cameras installed in my house and he sends me texts when I'm not playing Fire Emblem or something like that. So it's 1984 for video games over here right now. But I had to I just needed a taste of these games. So first one, first one was Bard's Tale 4. And both of these games I only played for a couple hours, so these are just like beginning impressions. Not as excited as I was. It's an old school game. It's, you're on a grid and you have your characters lined up on the grid and you're playing against somebody. It's like Heroes of Might and Magic, a lot like that. And I was excited about it because there was supposed to be humor. I am so bored in these first 2 hours. I'm more entertaining myself over there. It's a tough game to get into, I think, right now. I'm hoping it gets better. The voice acting hates my soul.
So it's not like the text-based ones?
It is. It's lined out like text-based ones,
okay.
But there is voice acting. There's characters or story going on around you. It's just very bare bones.
Okay.
And in an age of games that are like revisioned old school games, it's not quite up to the point I want it to be. Granted, it's a little confusing too, the battle system. I did start as a bard. You can start as multiple types of characters. But I decided I was going to be a bard. And the way that you get spells as a bard is you literally drink.
Okay.
The beers and stuff. So, but I kept drinking and I didn't have enough spell points to cast a spell. So I just got a bard that's going around getting drunk for no reason, and he can't really fight that well.
Okay.
So maybe that might be it. Maybe I just need to level up a little bit more and stop drinking, or do more, either one. So we'll see. I will play it more once I finish Fire Emblem, and then the next game that I tried, because apparently I was playing old fantasy style games, Kingdom Come Deliverance. Now, I kind of like this one. It is a complete opposite of Bard's Tale 4, though. It is a new age RPG, and the production values are movie quality.
Okay, so I've not played this game at all. Only thing I've ever seen is little previews, reviews, videos, stuff like that, and I keep seeing basically wannabe Skyrim.
Okay, so I haven't gotten that far yet to where I've gotten to the open plains.
Okay.
It feels a little like Skyrim, but not as good. The battle systems are a little confusing. You get a sword. I don't know if there's going to be magic or anything like that. It doesn't really hint at that kind of thing yet. But so I'll just kind of start out. You start out as this teenager that won't get up, and your dad's griping at you essentially, and you got to go run errands for the day.
Story of my life.
Yeah. So, you're in this town, and it's very well rendered. It looks like the setting you would expect from a middle-aged town. And you go work for your blacksmith dad, who you find out used to be a dude that fought with swords, and he's got some sort of past you don't really know about. So you have to go and hunt down this dude that owes your dad money. Well, depending on some choices you made at the starting, Are you good at talking? Are you good at punching, like strength-based things? Are you fit? Things like that. Well, I did all the talking charisma stuff, so I was like, okay, I'm going to try to convince you to give me money. It said I succeeded, but I didn't. He didn't give me any money. He's like, I'm broke, kid. Go away. I'm just going to be a drunk and hate life. And so at that point, it's like, optional quest. Steal it. So I was thinking, I wanted to be like a good character, which I guess, the dude owes me money, so I'm going to steal his stuff. So I tried to steal his stuff first time.
Failed.
Miserably. I ended up in jail, and the jail caught on fire, and I died. There were skulls, like, on the ending credits, and I was like, okay, one, I just ruined what was about to happen. I knew something, like, the scene, the setup is way too idyllic. It's, like, too happy, and the mother and father work together well. They're all going to die as foreshadowing. It's really what it boiled down to.
It's most games.
Yeah, you something traumatic's got to happen. So I go back, try it again. Well, then I said, okay, well, I'm going to punch him. I get the snot beaten out of me, and I die again. Okay. I'm going to go find my friends, and I'm going to go do other stuff. Well, I get these friends, and we throw poop at this guy's house.
What?
Because he's talking bad about the king. And they decide, okay, we're all going to beat up this guy and get money from him. So I got my money.
Okay.
After throwing poop on somebody's house and running away from the poleman. It's the dudes that apparently will put you in jail. And I've already been there once, and I wasn't going through that again. I died in jail last time.
Sounds ridiculous.
Sounds like the story of my life. So anyway, stuff happens in the town. I know I'm kind of spoiling the beginning, but honestly, it's like your first hour of the game. If you've seen anything about the game, you know this has happened. The town starts getting taken over after you do these series of quests, and bad things are happening all around you, and there's this quest where you're supposed to distract these guards that are being very inappropriate with a woman, and you have to steal a horse.
A horse?
I'm very bad at stealing horses.
A horse?
Yes, a horse.
Of course.
Of course, a horse.
You didn't see where I was going with that.
I did after I was like, oh. Anyway, I got murdered on the horse 5 times, and I gave up. Every time I jump on the horse, my horse would be like, oh, there is a barrel in the way. I must stand still completely and not turn around. Murdered. Oh, there is a wall here. I must stand... Murdered. Oh, I like butterflies. Murdered. Yeah, it's just... the way it controls is driving me crazy. I'll get back to the game later, I'm sure. I talked way too long about the game that I played. Yeah,
Talked too long.
Murdered. I died again.
Murdered.
Okay, so, all right, I'm going to go on to the next game before I get murdered again. Okay, so this is a request from the guy that runs Regen E Racing podcast, because generally before each show on Twitter, and now our fancy Discord we'll talk about later, we ask, for some ideas on what y'all want us to talk about. Another person, or one of our podcast buddies, WT Famicom, or as I like to call, What the Famicom, he suggested some stuff that I have no clue what to say about. I'm sure he actually said he talked about it on one of those episodes, so check it out whenever you get a chance. But it's completely opposite from our podcast, because he cusses a lot. We don't. So if you want that kind of stuff, go for it there. It's funny. Okay, anyway, so what are some mobile games to play since the dude from Regen E got a fancy new Android phone? So I don't play a lot of games. I don't think you play a lot of games on mobile phones either.
Not really. Just a couple things here and there. I try and stay away from all the Pig 3 type games, stuff that are really popular. It just seems like that's what
I like.
Is.
Tapping bubbles. It's just most of the games out there suck on mobile.
Yeah, I mean, there are some okay ones, but then, like, even the ones that are bigger, like, almost console-esque games, it feels weird playing them without a controller, with just a touchscreen.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's, like, somebody that's listening to us. Listen to them geezers that don't like mobile games.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Get over it.
But there are a few we play, like, I really liked Mario Run.
I did not. I could not get into Mario Run.
Okay, the main thing I liked about it is there was a flat price to the game.
Yes, that was nice.
Like, you could play the first world, and then a flat price of $10 to get the whole game. Mm-hmm. So I did that, and I had a lot of fun with it. It's got a good replay value, trying to get all the coins and everything like that. I also tried that Dr. Mario World. Not a fan of it.
See, I haven't tried that one yet. I wanted to. It looked really simple.
It's weird because things go from the bottom up instead of the top down.
This is not how Dr. Mario works or viruses in the real world.
And there's like hidden stuff, and then there's bombs, and it's weird, man.
And if you don't wash your hands, you're technically putting more viruses on the screen as you're playing.
And since I do love Nintendo a whole lot, one of the other ones that I boot up every once in a while. Yeah. One of the other ones that I boot up every once in a while is Pokemon Go, just to see how it's changed, what I can find. It's pretty cool. I really like Pokemon, but pretty much the only game that I play outside of Nintendo-esque mobile games is the Bloon series. It's a tower defense series where you play as these monkeys who are trying to stop balloons from getting to the base. And the balloons that come out have, depending on their color, is how many hits they have before they pop. Some of them are covered with iron. Sometimes there's big blimps that come in that have a bunch of little balloons in them. And basically you have to use your darts or your sniper rifles or your glue gun to keep them in place. And
you got to keep those balloons away at bay and out of the way.
Yeah, it's just a funny tower defense type game that I pick up every once in a while.
Tower defense actually works pretty well on a mobile device, especially if you have a larger screen.
Oh yeah.
I have a giant phone. I have a Galaxy Note 8, which I love. The 10 though, I'm kind of thinking if I should get it or not. But it's like $1,000 phone.
Yeah, dude.
It's expensive.
Phones are ridiculous these days.
Yeah.
I've kept my iPhone 7 for 2 years now.
See, I'm almost to the 2-year point with this phone. And I don't know. Some of these phones, there's not a big jump in processing power. The only thing is like the battery starts sucking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last I checked, my battery was at 84% of its actual life left in it.
See, I don't know if I can have mine tell me that. I'll have to look into that.
Most phones just under the battery section.
Fancy. Anyway, so the games that I played, I just put up my top 3 that I probably play. I'll start with the one I used to play a lot more. It's called Draw Something. And it really is for a phone, though, that has a good stylus. Since I have a Galaxy Note, I have the built-in S Pen. And it's just a really fun game as an artist to draw stuff. And people have to guess what it is within a certain time frame. And you have a limited use of colors and things. It's just a good, fun game. However, it's a free-to-play game by Zynga. And I don't have it on my phone anymore because I just don't... Zynga got really bad about doing mobile notifications. Yeah. And, I mean, free games aren't free. They're going to take your data. They're going to use it for other reasons and track you. So that's a big part of why I don't play mobile games, because I know so much. I mean, I'm using an Android phone. They track everywhere I go. Anyway.
They're watching you people.
They're watching us. And Rowdy knows I'm weird about all that stuff. But, so the other 2 games are not free to play. Next one is Guilds of Dungeoneering. Guilds of Dungeoneering is weird. It's essentially a dungeon crawler. Now, whenever you fight, you're playing with cards. So it's a dungeon crawler mixed with a card fighting game. And you can buy cards based on the class that you're using.
With real-world money?
No.
In-game money?
No.
Can you buy in-game money with real-world money?
No. You buy the game.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And then it's there. It's wonderful. It's magic.
Boom. Okay.
But not Magic card game, because they will nickel and dime you. Okay? But it's got a really good system. But the thing is, why it's called Guilds of Dungeoneering, it's real tongue-in-cheek. It's a really good humor, and it's all about building a guild and bringing in lackeys or just random people off the streets to go run dungeon quests for you. So you get some of the money from them and stuff like that, and most of them just die. Over time, as they're playing, they can get battle scars that will cause different effects, or they can get different bonuses if they're hardened, warriors and stuff.
Can you get battle scars that make you have more charisma? Because it makes you look sexier.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sexy scarification. Anyway, so it's a really fun game. It's drawn. The art style is almost like pen and paper style. And based on the type of guild you're building, certain characters will do more damage. Like there's, your general warriors. There's magicians. There's thieves. People that fight with monsters and stuff like that. And then you're going through these dungeons, and the dungeons are a little bit different each time. And if your character dies, well, then you got to start over with another character. Well, your new character might not be leveled up enough, so you got to, it's a tough game. I won't lie. But it's fun. It's not free to play. You actually have to pay for it. They're not going to steal your data. And the music is hilarious because they sing wonderful, beautiful songs about how your character died horribly. It's one of those games, like I usually play without the audio, but I like listening to the songs because they're funny. Last one, it kind of similar theme, Knights of Pen and Paper. The whole series is great. It is a sort of Dungeons and Dragons revisioning for mobile games. They are starting to do some of that freemium stuff though. Originally it was pay. You had to pay for it, and that was it. And then they did DLC and PAX, like expansions. Now they're starting to add in, like, you can use in-game money and stuff. So I'm not happy with that. But you essentially have a dude that is telling the story. So you have a dungeon master that's there, and you pick different characters. And depending on what type of person you pick, let's say you pick a wizard, well, you could pick like a gothic person or a cheerleader, and they have different stat effects depending on who you are. It's the greatest thing ever. And so you play through the game, and there's really good humor in it. There's actual rolling dice and things like that affect how you hit or what's going to happen inside of a quest. From traveling to one place to another, you have to have a certain amount of money. So you might have to fight enemies and stuff like that.
So if you choose a goth bard, does that automatically make you Robert Smith from The Cure?
That is a good question. That'd be awesome.
Crazy makeup.
You can be a rock star.
Crazy bedhead.
Yeah. Like one of the presets of people are rock stars and like surfers and all this other cool stuff. So it's a really good game. It's probably my favorite one. And they do have it on the Nintendo Switch. I liked it so much I bought it on the Nintendo Switch.
I think I have them on Steam.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
And I want to say it was maybe Steam that I saw there's actually a sci-fi version of this game coming out.
I played it.
It is out?
Yeah, it is out. I didn't like it as much.
Gotcha.
It's still got the humor and stuff, but the play style is more confusing. It's like a different type. So this game is almost like Bard's Tale in a sense, where you're looking at the enemies in front of you and you do a turn-based battle.
Okay.
And it determines who's in line, by the way, like D&D. You roll initiative at the beginning, and then you might have plus or negative initiative, and then it puts everybody in line. It tells you all the places in line where you're going to play. The sci-fi one doesn't do it as well. It's a cyberpunk-esque universe that it's doing. I just couldn't get into it. Maybe I need to go at it again and try it. But I didn't quite like it as much. Now, the expansions on Knights of Pen and Paper get to where the pen and paper universe is kind of destroying itself, and it becomes very... This game is constantly, like, making fun. There's so many cliches in this game, and parody going on. Like, you fight these Ninja Turtles, essentially, but they're not really Ninja Turtles. They have an alternate name. They live in the sewers. It's by far one of the best mobile games I've played, and I've got to the point to where I bought it on regular systems to play whenever I'd go on a trip, just because it's easy and fun stuff.
It sounds almost like Chroma Squad, where you actually play as out of work actors who basically play Power Rangers.
I could see it being similar humor. I haven't played that game, but it's good stuff. Go out and buy it if you've got a phone. I know they're getting more freemium, but it's worth it. Or get it on the Switch. All right, and before we move on to the next segment, this isn't really a game that I've played. Uh, my wife and I went to go see the VR experience by the guy that runs the podcast Hardcore History, Dan Carlin. And he has basically hired, well, the company that hires him has made this interactive virtual reality experience called War Remains, and it takes place in the trenches of World War One. So, in a future side quest, actually, it's going to hopefully drop Monday next week. My wife and I are going to record it soon. We're going to talk about how it's viewed from the point of view of a gamer as myself that's not as involved with history, and then my wife's point of view as kind of a non-gamer, but she is involved in history. She's got a degree in history, focused on World War II more so, but she does know a lot about World War One, and she collects antiques. We have around 8,000 things within our house that range everything from patches to weaponry to uniforms to notes. It's a little wild. Like right now we have what's called the war room, but everything's in boxes. We need to take it all out. We have
you guys. I've seen a lot of it. It's crazy.
Yeah, my house is wild. I mean, in my room right now, like you can literally see like World War II propaganda art and stuff like that in my house. So
crazy in a good way.
Yeah. And whenever I say World War II propaganda art, I mean pro-American stuff that's hanging up. So anyway, so we'll dive into that. That's going to be a whole side quest podcast, and I'll introduce y'all to my wife, known as Loyal Historian. So check that out, hopefully next week, and just check Twitter, and you'll definitely see it there. All right, so next step is news and views.
On to the news. So, first things first, I need to make an amendment to something I said last week in the news section. We were talking about a lot of the first-party studios that have been bought up by Xbox or Microsoft and Sony and things like that. And I stated that Microsoft has said that their studios will not be strictly Microsoft, that they can release for other systems as well. Well, almost as soon as I said that, I got home, I saw some more news where Microsoft is making their first-party studios strictly Xbox related, unless otherwise noted. The actual news article that I took from, I misread. It actually states that anything created by the studios prior to being bought out by Microsoft can still be released on other systems, seeing as they were being made for other systems as well, and they don't want to pull an Epic Game Store like a lot of these people have, who have had like Kickstarters who stated you can get the Steam key and things like that, but then have taken it back to be an Epic exclusive. So they didn't want to do all that. So basically, if it was in creation before the buyout, it's still going out to all other systems. So now that we got that out of the way, let's move on to some PAX news.
Ooh, PAX. So, hey, they showed Marvel's Avengers. What do you think about it?
Look, I've seen a lot about Marvel's Avengers. And at PAX, they let a lot of people play the big demo that everybody's been seeing. At E3, the press got to see the demo. At whatever the last conference was, GDC? Is that the one we just talked about?
No, we talked about Gamescom.
Gamescom. Okay, at
last
Gamescom,
episode, check it out.
At Gamescom, they let the public see this first mission trailer. So then at PAX, they actually let people play it. So a lot of people have come out with their, top 5 or in order their favorite ones to play as. So for us, obviously, we didn't get to play it.
Yeah.
But the one that I think looks the coolest is Thor. Just the way he plays, you throwing Mjolnir around left and right. It looks like he controls kind of like God of War.
That's what I've been reading, and people say it's a God of War-esque character.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he could fly around and stuff like that,
yeah,
so it's different than Kratos. But I loved God of War, and I don't see that as a negative tick to the game.
It's almost like Thor is a god.
Well, you can say that.
It's crazy.
I mean, in the video, you could see him throw Mjolnir and pin somebody up against a downed bus. And then he starts fighting hand to hand and then calls it back to him once he's done fighting these guys. Looks really cool. I don't know. Did you like the Thor part?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Caesar Milan has worked with Mjolnir and Thor together to make sure that they follow along. Come back. I'm okay. So my thoughts on this game right now are still meh. I'm just not that into it. I think it's going to be a visually fun game. I'm still worried about the gameplay aspects of it.
Yes.
And I don't like being dragged along. It's like, here's your characters. Play as these characters only. You know, that kind of part concerns me. I can understand the idea of telling a story in it, but I'm still not completely sold on this game like buying it day one. I'd wait until this is $20 in a bin somewhere. That's my thought process right now.
My whole thing is watching that demo, like, I got kind of excited, like, playing as these characters because, well, the Iron Man part looked like it was an on-rails flyer almost, and then he landed and he was, shooting his beams everywhere. Hulk just smashed everything. He was
Hulk smash!
Running on walls and breaking bridges.
Smash!
Captain America was fighting, throwing his shield and stuff.
Not so smash.
The Black Widow part was very cinematic. Like you jumped on Taskmaster's back while he's like flying through the air. Like that part was crazy, and her part is more I guess hand to hand brawling. Like it seemed like there was a whole lot of counterattacks and things like that in hers. Looks pretty cool, but at the same time, we don't know what the game's going to play like. They've talked about how there's a multiplayer aspect to it and that it's a games as service game. So to me, that's like Destiny. So is this game going to be like I don't know, somebody's playing as Thor, then you could jump into that level as another Avenger and play with them? I mean, we don't really know what the gameplay is like. I mean, that was just the kind of tutorial level. I don't know. Not sold on it as well. We'll see.
Yeah, so the next thing, though, that I definitely want to talk about, and I have some questions for you, Rowdy.
What's that?
Outer Worlds just released some more information. Y'all know my love for this game because I talked about it way too much last episode. But I'm going to talk about it some more, and I got a lot of notes for it. So, first, Rowdy, do you dream of working on the frontier of space?
I mean, kinda.
I do! All right. Are you searching for exciting off-world opportunities?
Yeah, sure. I want to go live on Mars.
Heck yeah! All right. Can you pass a basic aptitude test? I'm kind of sketchy on that one.
Maybe not.
We'll see. Possibly. Okay, so those are the questions that they ask you on the new trailer for the Multiple Planets trailer of Outer Worlds. So they're starting to show us what the Halcyon, I can't speak words, colony is. And they show you some planets. So the first one on the list is going to be Terra 2. Terra 2 is an interesting one. It looks like it is mostly the one that's completely run by corporations, and that's an overarching theme in the game is like the corporations. It's I think some people have said like late stage capitalism. Okay,
Planet Walmart.
Yeah, and honestly though, the more I started looking into it, especially Terra 2, it's the old idea of incorporated cities. So if you look at the origins of America, especially as there are new territories or states were just beginning to be made, even the town that we're in right now, if you look in the history of it, it's usually a company would run the whole town. And they even had stores, they had social events and things like that, but the money you used would only be their money. Have you ever heard that I owe my soul to the company store song?
No.
Oh, dude, you got to listen to it. So,
it sounds like a terrible country song.
It is. Well, I mean, it's an old song. The whole thing is about, how the store, you could not escape the town that the store ran. So you would be locked into working there. And it's actually one of the reasons why America started using what they call greenbacks, or the current money we use now. Because let's say if you worked for like our area was a lumber mill. Mm-hmm. Okay, I mean there's even a town called Lumbertown, essentially. and you would possibly use only their money to buy things only at their store, and you couldn't, there were localized monopolies. So you couldn't go to another town and use the money that you worked for. That was way below minimum wage. So that's kind of what you're starting to see referenced in some of these outer world planets, is these ideas of where the town runs everything and there's no overseer or anything that's kind of keeping them. And if you look into current things going on, there have been some concerns about like the new Facebook cryptocurrency doing something similar, paying people with their cryptocurrency. So it's kind of a random thing on Terra 2. It looks like an interesting planet. Definitely going to be the most corporate planet out there. Next one up was Monarch. It's going to be the wild world. And one thing I've noticed, like in a lot of these space games, they try to make these worlds look like this weird, like this plant life that you're not used to seeing. But really, they're styled like succulents. You know what a succulent is?
Yes, a weird plant.
My wife she grows succulent plants all the time. And so I've noticed, like, since No Man's Sky.
Okay, yeah.
No Man's Sky, like, every time a plant is weird, well, it's succulent based. And you can actually find plants that look exactly like those.
I need to go back and play that game, man.
I need to play it with the new updates. I have it on the PC, but do they have it on the Xbone?
Sure.
Because it was a Sony game, right?
No.
I thought Sony was their publisher.
No, it was the people who made that Joe Danger game.
Yeah. Oh, so I need to go back and play, though, because there's been some cool updates on that. Like, now there's actual multiplayer.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should start a planet.
I've got it on PC.
I have it on PC, too. Okay, so Monarch, generally the wild world. There's lots of cool places to roam, it looks like. And they kind of allude to a possible post-Jurassic Park situation after the pylons go down. So, if you're looking to that levels where, a very pretty spaghetti-haired demon pony will murder your face. Which...
Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, we need Raphael from Fire Emblem to save us from the murder ponies.
Punching horses in the face.
Just them everywhere. Other cool things in that in the trailer where they talked about the jobs you could have as a scientist. They said working with your hands. That was just kind of murdering people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mercenary.
Mercenary. And they explained the type of weapons that you get in the game. There are pointy weapons, smashy weapons, brainy weapons, and shooty weapons.
Yeah.
Quite possibly the best genreification of weaponry in a game I've seen.
Brainy weapons. That looks funny.
Weapons.
In the preview, like it shrunk this dude's head.
Yeah. And there were lasers. You fight with your brain. Also, did you know that the flaw system is actually optional?
Oh. No, I didn't know that, man. I thought that
like you got
either. Too many concussions, you had a permanent concussion, and there was no way around it.
Only on the hardest difficulty.
Oh.
So, question. Whenever you play it...
Easy.
Are you going to play with flaws, though?
No. Maybe
not.
I
am.
Do you have to take them?
No, you don't. But, okay, so, to me...
Maybe.
This is where I'm like... I'm probably going to, unless I, like, get all the flaws.
Yeah, I don't like taking permanent stuff.
But the thing is, if you get a flaw, you get a perk.
Well, yeah, but you also get...
I mean, you get some perks in the game, too,
yeah,
without having to take a flaw. But my thought is, as a Dungeons and Dragons nerd, I want to role-play this character. And whatever happens to the character, I'm going to have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to play to where it's like going to cause me to shoot blood out my eyeballs because my blood pressure spikes.
Yeah.
So, I'm okay with the flaw, I think. But that's probably where I'll put a save point. ...
Ellipses question mark.
Yes. So, but that is definitely one I am way too excited about, and I need to stop talking about it. Next podcast, I will try. I will say right now, I'm going to attempt to not talk about the Outer Worlds. Outer Worlds. I want
to play that game.
DLC is Outer Worlds.
I want to play as the otter.
Yes, we have otters down at my house.
Steal one.
You just got to fight the snakes for it. Once again, we live in the armpit of Texas where there are swamps. But I have otters in my drainage ditches.
God, I want to play with an otter. They're mean though, man.
But I also have water moccasins in my drainage ditches.
I would rather not play with those.
Yeah, so...
Water moccasins are not shoes that you wear in the water, by the way.
Yes, they're not. They're big, angry snakes.
Poisonous. Highly poisonous.
So, random side quest story before we move on to the next game. So, we were, and this is going to give y'all an idea of how rural this is, had a tractor, and it was about an acre away on the land over there.
Country music was playing in the background.
Yeehaw!
Somebody had a mouth harp. Somebody's blowing on a jug.
And I saw a snake. Okay, so we were about to move something, and then one of my nephews was over, and his friend. We were all going to work on something. I don't remember what it was, but he was going to jump in the tractor scoop and just kind of ride over there, because that's what you do if you have a tractor. You ride in the scoop if you don't want to walk. It's a fancy form of transportation, kind of like Austin and scooters. Yeah. So, but less Austin. Okay, so as he jumped in the tractor scoop, a friend opened up its mouth and tried to bite him. It was a water moccasin, and it was angry, because snakes only know one emotion, and that is pure anger.
They can sense fear.
Yes. So we had to take the water moccasin out of the thing and relocate him back to his land.
Yeesh.
I don't know if we killed him. We might have.
Yeesh.
Oh, fun fact, there's a snake in my wall.
Oh, yeah.
I told you about that. Man, there's snake stories all side quest again.
Man, I hate this. We're recording in my apartment from here on out.
After the last episode, Rowdy left. This is a couple hours after he left. Actually, it was a lot of hours. About 1 a.m., I went to go to my laundry room and do some laundry. There's a big doggy door in there, and it's not air conditioned. Well, I see something sticking out of like a pile of boards that we have in this closet. As we were remodeling, and we're actually about to redo the whole thing and seal it off better, especially now. And I saw a tail sticking out.
It was a snake.
It was a snake. It was a coral snake.
Poisonous.
Well, I go back and to first of all find some shoes, because I don't want things biting my feet. Which they'll just bite through it anyway. But
red touches yellow. He's a deadly fellow.
Yes, it was one of the bad ones. There's all sorts of different. By the way, if you live in our area, there are rhymes to determine the danger of a snake.
So you have to say them really fast before you get bitten?
Is it? And I always forget. Like red and black, friend of Jack. But is that really true?
No. Red and black, venom he lacks.
Okay, so that is true. It's friend of Jack.
What does friend of Jack
Venom
mean?
he lacks. Well, then he'd be a friend of Jack, because if he bites him, it's not going to kill him.
But my name's not Jack.
Friend of Rowdy.
But there's nothing poisonous that rhymes
Dang
with
it, Rowdy. This is how these rhymes are supposed to work. Okay. And then there's red and yellow will kill a fellow.
Deadly fellow. Kill a fellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so we have nursery rhymes that go along with our pain noodles. So danger noodles.
Danger ropes.
Anyway, so
nope ropes.
I go back after I get my shoes on, and this is within a 30-second span. I go to either get a snake removal device or a snake murder device.
And it's gone.
I found a snake murder device. Couldn't find a removal device. So I got a shovel within 30 seconds. It's just out in front of my house. And I come back, and what happened, Rowdy?
It's gone. It's gone.
It's gone. So, crap. There's this snake that's in my washroom, and I don't know where he went. And there's a bunch of stuff stacked in there to the side. And then, so I go check underneath the washer and the dryer. Not there.
He's going to climb into some cargo shorts.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, there weren't clothes like in there. So we start taking everything out of this washroom, and there's like stuff that's been in there for years. It's just covered in dirt because the dogs come in through there, and this snake probably came in through the doggy door or underneath it, because like I said, it needs to be sealed off and redone a little bit better. And we spent an hour and a half at like 1 a.m. trying to find this snake. We get everything out of there, and then there's a hole in a corner in this closet.
That's where he went.
He might have gone. He might have escaped in those 30 seconds. He might have been like, I'm out of here. I don't know. But there's this story by Edgar Allan Poe called The Cask of Amontillado. Go read it. That's what I did to this snake. He is now encased in the wall forever because I'm not sticking my hand in there and trying to get a danger rope out of the wall. And fun fact, that's not the first snake I found in the wall. Rowdy's like, I've never come to your house.
Man, we're recording in my apartment now.
There was a king snake that had come in when we were remodeling.
Not poisonous.
Not poisonous. King snakes are your friends. He's not in the wall.
Last one I saw was 6 feet long.
King snake?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
So we have coral snakes I see pretty often out here, but water moccasins are by the drainage areas on my property. So, but we have lots of king snakes. They're friendly.
Well, needless to say,
Rowdy is never coming over.
When you were in this washroom, would you say you were being the predator?
Good transition.
And hunting your prey?
I didn't eat him.
Well, okay.
But it definitely was asymmetrical gameplay.
So next game.
Because my wife helped me.
Predator Hunting Grounds.
By Ilphonic.
Never heard of these people. I mean, I'm sure they've done some stuff that I've played. Played a lot of games.
Yeah.
But it's a PS4 exclusive. I've actually seen a preview for this before. This had more, I guess, gameplay in it. So basically, it's a 1 versus 4 predator versus 4 humans. You could play either as said human team or the predator. And then, I mean, Predator's one of my favorite movies from the 80s.
Predator was awesome.
Loved it. But you get all of the Predator's cool little quirks, all of his moves and things like that. Like, you can go in his, like, active camouflage mode. It's basically invisible.
I want one of the arm things to press all the buttons and blow myself up.
Yeah,
or
man.
other things up.
You can do all that cool stuff.
Yeah.
But one drawback.
Uh-oh.
To me, it's a multiplayer game. I haven't seen anything about missions or anything like that. As much as I love the Predator, I mean, this game is gonna have to drop $10 before I buy it and play it.
Yeah. I mean, it's honestly, I mean, there isn't a story mode in it, is there?
Not that I've seen so far, and I doubt there will be one.
So it's just online only. It's 4-on-1.
Yeah.
And plus, I mean, the humans actually get AI soldiers to help out.
That's cool.
But I mean, if the balance is off, it's not going to be any fun. And then, as soon as it's not being played, you're never going to be able to really play it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's going to ruin the fun unless you could do all AI bots. But even then, I mean, yeah.
What's the fun in that?
Yeah, I mean, like, I want a game that's also with it. That's the problem, I think, with a lot of these arena shooters is, you know, it's after a while you just don't get to play them anymore.
Yeah.
Which I know people will spend like 1,000 hours on these games, but
oh yeah,
you know,
kind of like the beginning of our next topic.
Yes.
So
what happened the other day?
Nintendo dropped this Direct, and I mean, I would almost consider it an E3 level Direct.
It was good, and I was actually on Twitter right before it saying, "Yo, lower your expectations," because this is. I was thinking, you know, they've already released a ton of stuff, and it's about to be the Christmas season coming in the next couple months, and there's so much already out, and we were complaining about this last time, like, we have too much to play.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, they're just like, boop.
So,
what have they announced?
First off, they announced Odor Crotch.
Overwatch, Rowdy.
My bad.
Overwatch.
My bad.
Yeah, right. I wonder what you think about this game.
I mean, it's a squad-based shooter. Like, I'd like to play it, but I would just die left and right.
So
I'm sure it's fun.
I really got into Paladins, which is kind of like the Dollar General version of Overwatch.
But not as many good people play it as they do Overwatch. So Paladins was more fun because I didn't die left and right in it like Overwatch.
I've reached out on Twitter to the Overwatch people. The $1 million question for me: are there gyro controls?
Yeah, they announced that in the.
They did?
Yeah,
I didn't see it.
Oh yeah, they were talking about gyro controls in it.
Oh, I need to rewatch it then. Maybe I was just like, oh, I figured Overwatch and then.
No, because the first thing I thought is that nerd Travis is going to buy this up quick if it's got the gyro controls.
Good. I guess I'm gonna have to get it now because I know people at the GW Discord that I play with all the time. They're some Overwatch people. So yeah.
So I want to skip over this next one right here because this was actually announced next.
Oh yeah,
the whole Smash thing. So what's funny is, did you notice the troll that they did? They trolled us bad by taking and showing consoles in years.
Oh yeah, and then they just kind of
backwards on the timeline. I was like, oh, they're going to stop on Super Nintendo and announce SNES Online. Mm-hmm. Then they went past Super Nintendo. I was like, oh, okay, well, what are they doing?
Which makes me wonder, is this a hint?
Well, then they went back to Super Nintendo, and I was like, oh, SNES Online. Yeah! But no, they went a little to the left of where it's in 1994 and then showed the Neo Geo. So then I was like, okay, well, this is probably some kind of SNK thing coming to Smash, because that was a rumor that it was an SNK character. So all I could think was it's going to be somebody from one of their beat-em-up games, like your King of Fighters, Fatal Fury, stuff like that, or even like Metal Slug. I was hoping it was not a Metal Slug character. Would have been cool, but I don't see how it could have fit in Smash. I like Metal Gear.
They have the Mii that's a shooter.
Metal Slug. Did I say Metal Gear the whole time?
I don't know what you said.
Metal Slug.
I fell asleep.
My bad.
Neo Geo. I didn't play them games.
But then they announced Terry from Fatal Fury and King of Fighters series, which is cool. I really liked those series. I don't know how he's gonna. I don't know how he's gonna play in Smash.
It's just fan service to SNK fighter people.
Yeah,
I mean
it's pretty cool.
It's cool, whatever. And people that like fighting games, Smash is where it's at, honestly, right now, because all the other fighting games are turning into DLC cash outs, and nobody wants to play them, and then they screw up like the frame rates, and so the last real good competitive fighting game right now that's current is Smash.
Man,
somebody would be mad that I just said that.
I don't know. There's still a lot of people who play like Street Fighter and stuff.
But Street Fighter 5 is not the same as 4. 4 was the one that they still kind of play more competitively.
Yeah, like when you hear Evo's coming around every year.
Then, like Tekken, the latest Tekken didn't do as well as they thought it was.
Did they just release the Soul Calibur?
Yeah, they had Soul Calibur recently, and I hear that one's still not on par as the one before it. I keep reading that those things are like the worst ones in the current history. Best Soul Calibur game, by the way.
2.
Is that the one with Zelda?
With Link.
Yeah, sorry. I'm wrong everywhere. I was thinking Soul Calibur 4, and I was Zelda. Come on. I have to, so I have this giant Link figure.
It had Mel Zelda in it.
Mel Zelda. Yeah, Dude
Mel
Zelda.
Dude Zelda.
Dude Zelda. So I have this like giant. Actually, he's right over here. I need to bring him back to my classroom. I have this Link figure that's like, I don't know,
8 feet tall,
12 feet tall, something like that. It's somewhere in between there. There's
somewhere in between 6 inches and 12 feet.
Yeah. So I have this in my classroom, and I have kids. They're like, "Oh, it's Zelda!" It's like, no, child, that's Link. You should know the difference. So that's really bad that I just said Zelda. Anyway, so we played before the show as Banjo-Kazooie, who is a new character that was just released.
How did you like it?
He kind of plays like a more mobile Donkey Kong. Some of the moves kind of remind me of him, but he can shoot eggs from his rear and that explode.
Well, no, that's not him. It's Kazooie that's shooting the egg.
Well, it's still the Banjo-Kazooie. it's I don't know. It's an interesting character. I can see it being a contender.
So it's somebody that you may consider playing with?
Yeah, I'll play with them a little bit, but honestly, it's not going to be my main. Kirby's my bro.
Kirby's awesome.
But the forward special move is insanely tough. There's some weird moves with the character that just do some major damage spikes. I could see it being a pretty good character. I don't think it's going to be as good as the hero, because I hear the hero is really messing with some people in tournaments, and they actually are not allowing that character in some.
Weird.
Yeah, there's something that's dealing... I mean, you have those different magic sets you can choose with the hero.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest hero, by the way, if you don't know what we're talking about. And I think something that just, like, powers him up way too much. So it's going to be an interesting character. It should shake some things up a little bit. It's good. It's things. It's great. It's Smash.
Yeah,
so many characters, though.
I know you did you put out a tweet or you text me that you think Nintendo has Masahiro Sakurai, like...
Oh, no, dude.
In a cage.
So, yeah, I am a little concerned, because at the end of the Direct, Sakurai's eyes look sad.
They have him in a cage, just constantly making DLC characters.
Yeah, I think, like, they just announced, too, that they're going to do more DLC than the 5, and he was already like,
yeah.
Look, guys, I've been making Smash for a long time. I'm ready to get off this boat.
That man has not aged.
He doesn't, but he looks sad. Like, I can just see it in his eyes, his heart, his soul is just tormented, and his Smash is so good, and no one will let him go.
Have you heard the story about when he was making this new Smash? How he was just absolutely exhausted and actually had medics at the studio starting IVs on him so that he could stay hydrated and get his vitamins and keep working. I work in the medical field, and I could not imagine trying to work with an IV drip in.
Yeah, I don't like needles that much at all. No. Plus, they have a hard time with me and needles. Like, they always complain that my veins roll off. And then they stab me a bunch, then I get bruises. I hate it. Anyway.
No, people that are bad at it say that.
Actually, last time I was in the... Side quest! The last time I was in the hospital, they had students there.
Yeah.
And they're like, can we poke you? It's like, okay. Can't get a vein. Like, they've stabbed me at least 10 times. And then the lady's like, let me show you how it's done. She stabs me another 10 times.
Nice.
Before she finally gets it. Did not enjoy. I hated it. I've actually had it to where they put an IV in my finger once.
Yeah.
I did not like that either.
I've done that.
It's
not
painful.
on myself, like I've done that to somebody.
Yeah, but I don't like it. You can't play video games with an IV in your finger.
That's true.
Yeah.
But so after that Smash troll making us think they were going to announce SNES Online, what did they announce?
They announced SNES Online, Rowdy.
Yeah. And I'm super excited about it because the Super Nintendo is my favorite system of all time. I was born in '84, and my first system was the NES.
Same here.
Absolutely loved it.
Too young to know what was going on, though.
Exactly, man. Like, when I tried to play, like, some of the old Dragon Warrior games, didn't understand the RPG aspects of it.
But I hit slimes.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm. About the time Super Nintendo came out, 91, 2, 3?
Something like that.
4. It said 94 in the episode, I think.
Wow, was it that late?
I think so. It was a while.
Wow.
Maybe not. I don't know. Early 90s. This is about when
Professor
I started...
Google will tell us in a minute.
This is about when I started understanding the RPG aspects of games and a lot of different stuff. But at this point, they released my favorite. Oh,
we have an answer.
November 21st, 1990. Wait, was that Japan or America?
That would probably be Japan.
Okay. So a little bit after that, I guess, for America, August of 91.
It was released in August 91. In Europe and Australia, had to wait till 92.
Okay. So 91 here in the U.S. So around 91, 92 is when I got my Super Nintendo. And I played the hell out of it. I mean, Super Mario World is my favorite Mario game of all time. You've got amazing... what is it? You've got the amazing Kirby games on here.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to read the list in a minute in speedy mode.
Oh, well, then let's do that right now.
Here are the games that are coming to the SNES Online.
Oh, they're already out.
They're already out. They released that, like, the next day. They're like, yo, we've been making you, like, play these trash NES games that we complained about last episode. And this one, they're like, by the way, tomorrow we're going to release Brawl Brothers, Breath of Fire, Demon's Crest, F-Zero, Joe Mac 2, Lost in the Tropics, Kirby Dream Course, Kirby Dream Land, Pilot Wing, Star Fox, Stunt Race Effect, Super EDF Earth Defense Force, Super Goals and Ghosts, Super Mario Kart, Super Mario World 2, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, Super Metroid, Super Puyo Puyo 2, Super Soccer, Super Tennis, The Legend of Zelda Link to the Past, and it was awesome.
Yeah, it was super awesome, man.
Yeah.
I actually, last night, played Mario. I played Puyo Puyo 2. Hated it.
I love me some Puyo Puyo.
Played Breath of Fire and Brawl Brothers.
Have you played Demon's Crest?
No.
Dude, I used to play that game. That was like one of the games that like the art style in it is tough. You play as like this gargoyle dude, and you start the fight off with a dragon.
Nice.
You need to play it. It's tough though. I think it's by the same people that did Ghouls and Goblins or Ghouls and Ghosts. I think it's like a sequel.
Gotcha.
Which, I mean, if y'all know what Super Ghouls and Ghosts is, it's think about the proto Dark Souls.
Yeah, it's pretty rough, man.
Yeah, it's a tough game.
But yeah, so SNES Online has been absolutely amazing so far. I got a lot more hours I have to put into that.
And we did have another question on the Discord from Drufus asking, is SNES and these NES things tied to being only played online when you have an internet connection? So I checked. No. I was able to start this up in airplane mode. I actually restarted the system, and it was still fine. Because I figured, well, maybe just putting it to sleep wouldn't be enough, so I actually did a full restart. And my guess is either A, I think somebody said that there's a weekly check.
Okay.
Or B, it's tied to your online account. It probably knows when your next update is for payment.
They're watching you, people.
Well, yeah, but it's part of it. It'd probably be like, they pay in August, and then it would do the check then. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know if you can can you change the date on these things? Because you really mess with it, huh? There's got to be like a timer on it.
Yeah, there's probably a universal
I don't know
check.
if you can like Animal Crossing it, where you change the date and everything's wrong. Which, I guess, what would be your favorite game on this list? And what would be the one that you think should just go away?
Super Soccer needs to go away.
Oh, yeah? I never played it.
It looks bad.
Yeah.
I haven't played it, but it just looks bad.
Super Dodgeball was better on the NES, I'm sure.
Oh, man.
Yeah, honestly, Super Tennis looks pretty meh.
My favorite, the one that I was most excited about, which I still actually haven't played yet, was Pilot Wings.
I didn't play Pilot Wings either, or 64.
Well, no. I played the hell out of it on SNES. Just I haven't played it yet since it came back out. No. I'm going to. I played the hell out of it.
Pilot Wings.
It's awesome, man.
Those are games that I missed, and I've heard good things. The one that I'm probably most excited about, I have a tough time with this. I was excited just from nostalgia purposes for Demon's Crest. But Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island was probably one of my favorite games as a kid.
Hey, so I was watching the new Death Stranding trailer, like the gameplay one. Did you see where he falls off the cliff?
No, I did not.
Okay, so there's this gameplay trailer. He pees everywhere at the beginning. He walks up this hill. He meets Jeff Keighley, who is in the game. When he drops off a package, Jeff Keighley, he comes walking out, says bye, and he's walking, and he falls off this small little cliff, hits the ground. It's probably like a 15-foot drop or something like that. It's a hefty drop. So he hits the ground, the bridge baby starts crying.
Oh, no!
And the first thing I thought was Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, where Yoshi gets hit, and Mario starts crying.
That is one thing I did not miss. So I probably just thought about that with rose-colored glasses in my brains. And crud.
So you have to console said bridge baby.
Okay, maybe I'm excited about Breath of Fire because I haven't played that. I'll just say that. All right. Speaking onwards to hey, they have more stuff about Animal Crossing, and I showed my wife this, and she immediately lost her mind.
Look, man, it's gonna be awesome. I mean, I know it's a little more in depth this time. Like, there's a lot more crafting.
It is Minecraftian
like
now.
Yeah. So there's gonna be. It's going to be a little different. So it's like a lot of those...
not like the blocks, though. Just like building, crafting stuff.
It just drops you off, and you have to build this stuff. A lot like games like Ark and Conan, just with less violence and nudity than those games have.
I'm turning my island into to Animal Crossing Hunger Games. So, you can decide what you want to do. No, that's not you.
Well, then I'm going to turn mine into Animal Crossing Battle Royale.
Same thing. Whatever.
Japanese movie that... Hunger Games ripped off. Push my glasses up on my nose.
Yeah. All right there, Mr. Reddit. Okay.
I saw a shirt the other day. It said, "What is it? Two kawaii to live, two sugoi to die."
I don't understand what you just said.
They're anime references.
Sure.
I said them all wrong.
I don't know.
It's pretty funny. I laughed though.
Oh man.
So yeah, Animal Crossing, like I'm getting it. It's gonna be awesome.
So the thing that I found interesting was the you can now do co-op with 4 people local, 8 people online.
Yep. So they can come in your town and mess it up.
Yeah. Well, I did think one thing. You know, if let's be honest, I mean, a lot of us are buying this game for us, but we're also buying for a loved one, for our spouses. This is either going to be great for your marriage or it's going to burn into the fire because now you can play at the same time.
Oh, I'm buying a whole new Switch just for my wife.
Same here.
She'll try and steal mine and I'll never get to play.
You have separate islands like the 50s.
Yeah.
Or wait, those separate beds.
Something
like that.
Could you push the islands together?
I don't know.
What was that? I Love Lucy where they did that? And people freaked out?
Yeah.
Good old 50s.
Good old 50s.
Dumb. I hate it.
All right, so Animal Crossing should be good stuff. It just looks fun. Oh, by the way, my wife lost her mind whenever you could pole vault over a river.
Oh, dude, that's so cool.
Like
for real, man.
I remember like having stages to where you would have to go all the way around.
Ah, so annoying.
Yeah. Okay, next up, Pokemon Sword and Shield. You are definitely more the Pokemans person. What did you think about it?
Man, it's going to be awesome. I'm going to eat lots of curry. And I see you put in the notes here, Nintendo Dog-esque.
It kind of reminds me of that. You can play with them.
Yeah, dude, they've been doing that since the DS.
Yeah. It just seems to be way too much for me. Like, I don't enjoy that aspect of the game.
You could pet them.
I don't care.
Clean them. You can feed them.
And apparently, according to the latest memes, you can eat them in curry.
You can't eat the Pokemon in curry. You can
I know, but that's the whole thing, though. No, they are actually showing like which Pokemon would be the best tasting in curry.
Oh God!
Oh yeah, the meme's gone wild. Yeah, so whenever I put Pokemon curry meme there, that's really what's going on.
Oh God!
So they're like showing the pig one, and then this one and that one. The one with the duck with the onion, the green onion, or the leek. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, those are all going in the curry, and then you eat them.
No.
It probably tastes wonderful. Fun fact: I've never actually had like legit curry.
I have.
I've had curry spice, which tastes terrible to me.
I've tried to make curry before, and it was absolutely awful.
I've seen some people that show really good looking curry, so I guess I need to find a place that does curry.
Yeah, dude, we live in Texas. There's no good curry places.
Well, especially in our area. I mean, there probably isn't Houston or something, but like our area is big on like Vietnamese.
Cajun food.
Cajun. Indian food. It tastes like Cajun food out here. But yeah. Anyway, so you can now eat Pokemon in curry. No, you can't do that. Next one, Deadly Premonition 2.
Don't care.
It's a sequel to the cult classic 2010 survival game, but I don't care. Next one, Super Curvy Clash.
Don't care.
Don't care about it. No.
This is just an updated version of Team Kirby Clash Deluxe for 3DS.
So
not excited about it.
What I don't get? It's a loot based game, but you only fight the big enemies. Why not give me like a Diablo-esque level, or at least a level where there's monsters for me to beat up instead of just one dude?
No, I'm out.
Alright, next one, Little Town Hero, made by the Pokemon people.
I'm out, dude. Stay to Pokemon. Keep making Pokemon.
I think it looks interesting. I don't really get the concept. Fight with your thoughts. Like,
you get monsters. It's basically off-brand Pokemon made by the same brand.
Then I don't understand. The promise is that you never leave the town. What type of economic system works where nobody actually can leave the town and get resources? They would all just starve to death. I don't understand these thought processes that are going on. Okay, next game. Luigi's Mansion looks fun. It's got co-op.
Dude. I'm so getting it.
Dude, Luigi. Did you... I saw they had something called Scream Park, but I don't remember what was going on.
It's like a multiplayer thing, a 4-on-4, four Luigis and 4 Gooigis. They see who could either catch the most ghosts or beat the most ghosts or collect the most items.
Sounds fun.
And stuff. It's going to be cool. I'm totally excited about this because I hated, what was it, Luigi's Mansion 2, Dark of the Moon. Hated it. Hated the level-based version of it. Meh.
All right, next one. Trials of Mana. Looks good. Enough said. We talked about it already in another episode.
Which one was, what was Rogue Company?
It's by Hi-Res Studio, the people that did Paladins, but I don't remember what they said. So it must not. It's not coming out till 2020. We'll talk more about it before 2020, I'm sure.
Daemon X Machina.
Looks great.
I'm getting that next week.
Is it out next week?
Next week.
Where's my wallet?
So
I'm gonna hide it in the safe.
I'm actually not gonna play the new demo they had for it, just because it's coming out next week. I've got no need to do it. I just go in fresh.
The last demo was good, and now there's 4-player multiplayer.
Yeah.
Online now. I'm wondering how bad the frame rate's going to be, because the frame rate was really rough on the last one. They've improved it, but something tells me we're going to see Star Fox level, original Star Fox FX chip level frame rate from this game.
So funny.
Which, by the way, kind of going back to what we talked about, I'm really excited the SNES online stuff has FX chip games like Stunt Race FX.
Dude, Stunt Race FX is funny as hell. I don't know if you ever played it. I played a little bit of it last night.
Yeah.
It's funny, dude. It's just how I remember.
I just had to see it. I was just like, oh my gosh.
Controls surprisingly well.
Yeah, I know, man. All right, so after that, it was just port-o-rama.
Okay, so of these ports, Return of the Obra Dinn? I've heard a lot about it. People say it's good. Not my cup of tea.
I don't know much about it.
It's weird the way
so much of this
up.
episode is just I can't keep up.
You get
too many games.
This boat disappears, then it shows back up, and you get on there, and you have it's a watch or something like that where you can turn back time and see what happened on the boat, and you solve the murders.
Okay, cool.
Let's see here. So Tokyo Mirage Sessions. I don't like these kind of games. These music rhythm based games. This one has the Fire Emblem Encore, where you can play as Fire Emblem characters in it?
That's what Tokyo Mirage Sessions is. It's a mixture of... I'm going to get somebody angry with me. Shin Megami
Tensei?
That one.
Shin Megami Tensei and Persona and all those?
And Fire Emblem. It's a mixture.
Okay.
And you are playing like you're in Final Fantasy 15, where you're a pop band.
That's not Final Fantasy 15! Final Fantasy 15 was so good! One day, you were going to play Final Fantasy 15. And to yourself, you're going to say, I should not have made fun of it. This is an awesome game. But you will never admit it to me.
No, I would
not.
But
you will admit that it's such an awesome game.
I've got to play it. It's not on the Xbox, is it?
I'd be lying if I told you yes or no.
All right, but it's this mixture, and you call in you're a pop star, and you're doing musics and stuffs, and you bring in these Fire Emblem characters from the past.
Yeah, I'm out.
I'm not interested. It is if you're a big fan of anime, you love it, apparently. It's part of, you have to own that on if you want to keep your anime fan card.
You have to own it on a PlayStation Vita?
You have to own a PlayStation Vita. You have to like this game in both of those series. Otherwise, it's revoked. Right now, mine's revoked. I used to be a fan of anime. I still do occasionally enjoy it, but they won't let me into their meetings. So, I don't
What's next here? Divinity Original Sin 2?
Okay. So I'm excited about this on the Switch. One, because I do own Divinity Original Sin 2 on the PC, but I liked it. I didn't like it as much as my favorite game of all time, which just happens to be Deadfire.
Made by the same people?
Similar. No, they're different people.
Not the same people.
This is Larian or something, but it's more. It's D&D style, but it's more turn based.
Okay.
So I've been thinking I would like to play it on a console instead of my PC, because the other game was much more complex, Deadfire was, and it really needed the mouse and keyboard, in my opinion. Granted, it is coming to Switch, but honestly, I wouldn't want to play it on the Switch. This game, the graphics aren't anything too special. I'd be okay with playing it on the Switch, and I think it'd be a good game to play on the go, unlike The Witcher, which I have to worry about things.
Yeah.
So, naked things or something. So, I don't know if I'm going to get it on the Switch or I might just get it on the X. I'll see. But I am excited about that one. That'll be a good one for people because everybody says it's the best Dungeons and Dragons like game, which I would disagree with. But
and you would be wrong, sir.
It's just the story was not as interesting to me, and I'm in there for the story. It looked. I know it's going to be good. The gameplay is decent, and everybody hates me now because I said this, but I'm probably going to get it and play it again, and I'm sure I'll change my mind about it. Unlike that boy band Final Fantasy game. Anyway, next one is Doom 64 is being re-released on a Nintendo system.
I'm super excited about it.
That one's cool. Doom 64 was good stuff.
I loved it, man.
That was one of those games that had like a special cartridge, too.
I really liked the Doom series, like when I was a kid, and then when they announced Doom 64, I plugged it into my Nintendo 64, and I thought to myself, video games will never look better than this, and I was wrong.
Yeah.
But it was a fun game.
You know which game doesn't look good?
Jedi.
Visually, at least.
Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast.
What?
I've got it on PC. It's like a third person.
Looks like it's made for mobile.
Well, no, it's just an old game.
Okay, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally like, I want to say PlayStation 1 era almost.
Mm-hmm.
I've got it on PC. I played it for about 2 seconds. It's pretty good. But...
I know some people that were super excited about it.
Yeah.
I guess.
Assassin's Creed Rebel Collection. Okay.
Worth getting?
For Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag alone, it's worth it.
Good to know.
Black Flag
that's one
was
I
my favorite
play.
one because it took place technically
Pirates.
before Part 3.
Yar.
You were the grandfather of the character in Part 3.
Mm-hmm.
But it took place in the Bahamas, and you sailed from island to island. And it was pretty cool. You had naval battles, kind of like in Part 3, but it was way better in this one. I never played Assassin's Creed Rogue, but it's Assassin's Creed 3, 4, and Assassin's Creed Rogue were part of a trilogy. Assassin's Creed Rogue is weird because you actually play as a Templar, not an assassin. So, like, but the way that it goes is you are in 4, you are Edward
Scissorhands.
Whatever, I don't know. I don't remember his last name.
Okay, dude.
So
Dude Meister.
he was an assassin. And then in Assassin's Creed Rogue, you play as Edward's son, who became a Templar in England. And then in Assassin's Creed 3, you play as Edward's grandson, whatever the dude in Rogue's name was, son. And it's a pretty cool trilogy, even though I've never played Rogue. I need to. I have it on PC. But just for Assassin's Creed 4 alone, it's awesome. You should check it out.
All right, so I will probably have to get that in the future. Next is the stuff we've either talked about or I just don't care enough to really talk more about it. Dragon Quest, we've talked about it.
Oh, yeah.
Tetris 99,
Don't
there's
care.
more content.
Don't
Whatever.
care.
Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, we've
Meh.
talked about it and don't care that much. Although I will say the 2D stuff looks cool.
Yeah.
Witcher 3, talked about it. Dauntless?
Nope, I'm out.
Yeah.
It's a free-to-play Monster Hunter.
Free-to-play Monster Hunter. Yep. All right, and the next one, the last one, the best one. Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition.
So it's the
Yes!
first. It's the first one. It's going to be awesome. I have only put about maybe 5-6 hours into the game, and I actually played it on Wii U.
You know nothing, Rowdy 5000.
I played it on Wii U, and there's so much stuff that came out. I just did not have the time to play. I love Xenoblade Chronicles X and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I have put so many hours into those games. So I'm really looking forward to going and playing the original game.
So Xenoblade Chronicles was a game that I had to buy on eBay for like $85. I had hunted that game down to get it under $100 for a couple months, and I just got lucky. And I'd heard such good things about it, and so I ended up getting this game. And really cool thing, talking about more of our buddy podcast people, the guy that does the weekly set was in what's called Operation Rainfall, which was a group of people that were trying to convince Nintendo to release certain games for the Wii from Japan into America. And if it wasn't for the Operation Rainfall movement that his name is Tyson, that they had started up, this game would have never came over there, never have gotten this definitive edition, never gotten 2, never gotten X. And it's just blown up since then. And they released a couple other games, too, that were from Japan. It was just at the end of the Wii life cycle when nobody was playing it. So, really cool thing if you've never played the original Xenoblade Chronicles, unless you're a crazy person like me and have actually gone out and shelled out the money for it. To compare it to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, it has way more emotional range. It also doesn't kind of have that weird, like, kiddie anime effect to it. It's not like an anime cartoon on a Saturday morning. Completely different setting. Also, the world design is great in this one. I would say the world design is better than 2 from a visual perspective. It's still not as good as Xenoblade Chronicles X. But this one to me,
so good.
This one to me had the best story out of all the games. So I'm excited when Rowdy's going to play it, and like how he's like, "Hey, you need to play Fire Emblem." And be like, "Rowdy, where are you at on Xenoblade?"
Oh, I'm gonna knock it out. I guarantee it.
Oh man,
like Xenoblade Chronicles 2,
it's a good 80-hour game too.
I put probably 80, 90 hours into Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I couldn't put it down. And those 80, 90 hours were put in there in a month probably.
And this one is so good, and there's some good twist to the story, and it comes out in the setting to where you're literally on 2 Titans. Yeah, that's the worlds. And those are the worlds. I can't speak them to our Englishes. But you're...
It's okay. He was dropped on his head as a kid.
Yeah, it's okay. It's cool. It's going to be great, and they're redoing the graphics. I do hope they kind of change up the background graphics a little bit. In that video, they seem kind of low res. I hope they work on the textures a little bit more. And I'm sure they will, judging by the character designs. They've also changed Shulk up a little bit to be more like the Smash Brothers design. So that is one that I'm definitely excited about and ready to go. Now, this next thing, our fake news segment is really short today. I don't think we need music, so let's just go ahead and jump into that one. So, there was a Joy-Con patent leak. It's like hinged. Instead of being flat Joy-Cons, the top can actually go back and down a little bit, like at almost like a 45-degree angle, to make it to where your thumbs sit better.
Okay, so here's my problem with it. So on the left Joy-Con, the hinge is below the joystick. Okay, so that could be fairly comfortable. But so that means that on the right Joy-Con, that the hinge would be below the buttons. So your joystick.
That's still gonna suck.
Yeah.
You gotta have these weird hands.
So that to me is awful. Now, the only thing that it showed was the left Joy-Con. So this might just be a left Joy-Con thing, but if it hinges on the right Joy-Con, that's going to be awful. Now, your trigger fingers, like your shoulder buttons, that's going to be cooler. But I don't know. To me, if you want a good one, you have to have one where the shoulder buttons come down and everything else stays in place. To me, that would be the most comfortable. But I don't know, man.
I'm trying to figure out how to hold this when you're talking about the button placements. I'm pretty sure I just threw up gang signs I didn't mean to.
Dude, I was totally fixing to say, you're doing gang signs right now.
Anyway, so there's not a whole lot of fake news out there right now because they loaded it up all before these things. People were saying all sorts of crazy stuff before the Nintendo Direct, and a good portion of it actually came true.
Yeah.
Overwatch hit. There was a Xenoblades remaster because Sora... one of the people that work for Monolith Soft retweeted stuff. So the fake news was pretty on point last week. But next up is going to be it's a nerd alert.
Nerd alert.
All right. You ready, nerds?
I'm going to sleep.
Okay. Rowdy's going to take a nap. I'm going to talk.
See you guys in about 15 minutes.
So... last week or so, I decided I was going to get a new audio-visual receiver. And after doing some research and seeing a nice $50 off sale, I decided on the Onkyo SR-TX 393. But I had some problems.
News.
So, and if you follow the Twitter, you saw my problems. I was trying to troubleshoot why in the world can I not get the advertised 4K 60 frames per second gaming on the Xbox One X. It would not do it for whatever I was trying, any configuration. I used to work as a technician for Comcast. So I'm used to like troubleshooting, and I go to people's houses and hook things up all the time. So I just couldn't get this. So the problem ended up, after doing a ridiculous amount of research and becoming a huge nerd on audio stuff and HDMI formats and stuff, found out, because it's what you would consider bleeding edge technology. If you've never heard that term before, it's whenever something is a newer emerging technology and you might run into some issues that might cause you pain.
It might cause you to bleed.
It might cause you to bleed. Well, after literally spending days researching everything, I found a firmware update, which I'd updated the firmware. But I did not see that there was a supplemental manual only online for new features that deal with those advertised features where it was passing through the signal from the Xbox to the AV receiver to the TV in 4K. Because what was happening was it was trying to pass those things and the Xbox was like, nah, I'm not going to do it. Well, it's because they had added a completely new functionality where you had to do something stupid, like hold the Blu-ray button and then press the power button repeatedly until it said HDMI, like fancy, enhanced, that's what it is, enhanced HDMI on. Who does this?
It sounds like passing everything through your Xbox is not a good idea.
Well, okay, so here comes the problem. So I started looking up, okay, well, I was just going to be like, okay, I was going to be done with it, because I had an old receiver, and it couldn't do 4K. It was an old one, did 5.1, and it still sounds good, but it was starting to have some weird stuff going on with it, and I wanted to be able to hear the fancy new audio things with Dolby Atmos, which I'll talk about in a minute. Well...
I just popped my neck. It was awesome. Oh, sorry.
Rowdy's like, I'm going to go over here and drink some lemonade and some coffee. Anyway, so I was going to do what's called arcing. Okay, and if you look into arc, HDMI arc is where you can plug in a system directly to your TV, and then your TV will send a signal from it, and it's essentially like carrying it on an arc over to the surround sound system, and it plays music or sound. Well, the problem is that ARC is not big enough to carry the full audio signal. It can only carry, 2 of each animal. Or wait, no, that's Noah. Anyway, so it can't carry everything as it's sending it over to the audio signal, so it's actually running a more compressed signal than what your system can put out. And that led me into a crazy world of research. So we're going to kind of talk about, in our nerd alert, console audio choices. Yes. All right, so first up, there are generally 2 or 3 plugs in the back of most of your consoles. HDMI, optical audio, also known as SPDIF, and sometimes you'll see coaxial. We're not even going to bother with coaxial because that's not used very often.
What does SPDIF stand for?
I don't remember, Rowdy. Thanks. It's the one thing I didn't write down. Special digital interface? Something like that. Okay, so optical audio is essentially using fiber optics. It is shooting light from one end of the cable to the next, and there's light beams that are being shot out, and it's a very high quality audio option. However, it's technically not able to put as much information down as HDMI can do. HDMI can pass what's called higher resolution audio along with more formats than what optical audio can put out. So generally, if you have the capabilities of using HDMI, use it. But make sure that you're using an HDMI with Ethernet cable, because HDMI with Ethernet cables push way more data. They can push 18 point something gigabits per second, and Rowdy's probably looking at me crazy because I don't have any of this stuff written down.
I thought you were trying to say Ethernet.
Yeah, but no. So what it is, it can also push data like it was Ethernet, powered Ethernet.
Okay.
Yeah, I say Ethernet because I'm
nerd.
Anyway, is it Ethernet or Ethernet? Ethernet sounds like you could put somebody to sleep with it.
I don't know what it is, but everybody always says Ethernet, so I just go with that so that people don't look at me weird. I'm looking at you right now.
That's okay. You can look at me weird. I'm used to it. Okay, so you want to use those cables because they're the latest spec. There's like HDMI 2, HDMI 2.1, all this other stuff. You don't really want... There are these super high-level cables that they are releasing now that do 8K, but you don't need to be worried about that. All right, so HDMI generally will put out two main formats. There's LPCM, linear PCM, and then there's bitstream. LPCM is generally an unfiltered stream of data. Okay, so it sends it to your surround sound system already processed and figuring out which speaker it needs to go to. So whenever you're listening to things in LPCM, technically they're honestly like an uncompressed format because everything's been done inside the system and it just goes ahead and tells each speaker what to say or what sounds to make. Most of the time that's going to be your best choice, except nowadays there are some more formats that are starting to sound better than that uncompressed sound because there's a new one called Dolby Atmos that can actually separate things and it's doing these weird algorithms with the sound that's going on. Okay, so there is also bitstream. Now, bitstream is where your system will send the signal where it's going to have to be figured out by your surround sound system. So it can technically send way more because it doesn't have to send it out to each speaker directly, okay? But your surround sound system will figure out what that big chunk of data is and then send it out to all your speakers. Generally, your audio-visual system is going to be better situated for that kind of work because that's all it has to do.
Sounds like there'd be some latency.
Not really.
Okay.
There's not a whole lot with it because if you think about it, if your system's already having to do that work before it sends it out through LPCM, I mean, you still have latency built into that, and your gaming system is doing like multiple operations at the same time, dealing with input, output, all this other stuff. So it's about the same, unless you just got a slow system. Now, there is... on my receiver, and a lot of them nowadays, you can actually deal with, like, if there is latency, you can speed it up or slow it down to match the visuals that are coming onto your screen, especially if you have a TV that has a low refresh rate. Or not a low refresh rate, has an input lag. So you can actually alter your sound to make sure it matches up, which is really cool with a lot of audio-visual stuff.
I'm going to get latency tattooed across my knuckles.
You should.
I just looked at my phone on how to spell it.
How do you spell it, Rowdy? No, I'm joking.
L-A... Oh, I already lost it.
All right, so there was something about the Outer Worlds competency test. We'll see what happens. We'll see which planet you go to. All right, so those are kind of the two main categories you can have sound thrown at your face or your ears, whatever they are. Now, how they get to your ears is going to be determined by what cord you're using. So if you use an optical cord, it really doesn't do the LPCM very well. It's usually going to be doing DTS or Dolby Digital. So those are two major fighting formats right now. Dolby and DTS go about things a different way. They're both are what called lossy formats. So generally companies use these so they can store that data on the disk smaller than the uncompressed format, right? So optical normally doesn't do LPCM because it can't put as much data through at a time as the HDMI can. The HDMI can do a lot more than that optical signal. So the differences between Dolby Digital and DTS generally boil down to Dolby Digital can take a format and put it in a much smaller file, which means you'll most likely in a video game get way more possibilities for sound effects and noises. DTS, on the other hand, is generally better quality, but the file size is larger. So if you have the option, most people suggest to go with DTS, I've found out, between those two. Now, the thing is, with an optical cable, you are limited usually to DTS or Dolby Digital. None of the fancy formats that they have beyond that, because they have a ridiculous amount of formats that have come out since then, like DTS-X, True Dolby HD, and all this other junk. I honestly didn't do a whole bunch of research on this because that would take a whole episode on each individual format, but we're going to go ahead and jump over to, now that we've talked about optical and we've talked about all the things that you could expect and the differences between formats, we're going to talk about what HDMI can push through. So HDMI can push those uncompressed formats. It can push the DTS HD Master Audio, Dolby True HD, but a big thing that it can push out nowadays is Dolby Atmos. In Dolby Atmos, I don't think is on the PlayStation 4. It's definitely not on the Switch, and we'll talk about each individual console in just a minute. But Atmos supposedly makes things sound better from almost any audio format. So it takes the signal, and I have actually done Dolby Atmos on my cell phone because it was added here probably about 6 months ago, and you can hear the instruments separated better because they're doing something with the sound where it's introducing some depth in the sound. So things that are further away, it's not exactly white noise that it's entering in, but it's entering in some spacing in a sense. I'm trying to think of a good way to say this in the audio concept, but when you're looking visually out at a, by the way, this is going to be a parallel to it or analogy. Think about going to look out at a sunset at the beach. The boats that are further away look hazier, right? That's called aerial perspective. Well, audio that's further away has to go through more oxygen, different things that are going on in the air. Okay, so the sound would be different because it gets weaker as it comes towards you. And that's kind of what Dolby Atmos is trying to do, is trying to create that depth of sound through individual noises it determines. That was a little complex, but that's kind of what they're trying to do. And I've noticed whenever I'm listening to music in Dolby Atmos, I can hear, okay, well, this is definitely like in this place in my living room, like to the left up a couple of feet versus trumpet might be over to the right side, and it sounds like it's in front or behind me. So they can actually pinpoint distances in front and behind you a lot better than your normal surround sound.
There's when it comes to mixing music, the program that I use to record this podcast with, I can mix in 5.1, and basically the way you do it is there's not a 3D plane. I have kind of a 2D plane, like an X and Y axis,
Yes.
where I could adjust pan and volume. So basically, I'll take a channel of the sound, and then it's a dot on this axis, and I can move it to different areas. So basically, the louder it is, it's going to sound closer. The softer it is, it's going to sound more far away. And then obviously, you pan left and right with them. I have not tried messing too much with the 5.1 just because I don't think anybody, I can't think of any musician or producer who's put out music that is specifically 5.1. That's more for your movie soundtrack music.
There was a movement years ago to release like something called super CDs, I think, that they actually did do that.
There was like the dual disc.
Yeah, it didn't live very long. Yeah,
you played them through DVD players that were hooked up to surround sound, and
Super Audio CD, I think it was called.
All it really did was just kind of took the master files and moved some stuff to back speakers. Like I don't even think it was 5.1 surround.
So that's a big thing about Atmos is you were talking about how it essentially you can do an X-Y axis. So like think a square shape that you could put the sound going to. Well, Atmos is supposed to be able to do it more in a cube space to where you also add height. So that's a big thing that's different with it. Now, depending on your speaker setup, it could be more or less successful at this. That goes into a whole nother realm because now they have, most people listen to 2.1 because for some reason y'all listen to those audio sound bars nowadays, which are just terrible. By the way, I don't like audio sound bars. I don't know if I've told you this. They sound like tin cans with a subwoofer. I don't like them. Okay, next. There's, of course, 5.1 where you have your front speakers, your center speaker, your back speaker, and the subwoofer. Now, I did not know this until recently, but now they've added 0.2. You know what that means?
No.
2 subwoofers.
Ugh.
So you can have a subwoofer on the left, subwoofer on the right, and make everything go kaboom.
Nerd.
I want this. My wife doesn't know this yet, but I want to get a second one because now I can do 5.2. Also, technically, this one can do 7.2, where you can have 7 speakers. So those 7.1 and 7.2 get into a weird area to where you could like load your speakers in the front and they do depth better, which is part of that Atmos thing, where you could have a low speaker front and a high speaker front. Or you could do 2 in the back that are low and high. There's all sorts of weird formats nowadays. So, anyway, generally, for your games, we're going to go into each system what you should probably choose now that you've kind of gotten a realm of all the different things and have forgotten already.
I don't know. I think I just had a stroke.
It's a possibility. All right, we're going to start with Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch, you don't have any choices. There is LPCM only. Nintendo does not want to essentially pay for the royalties to use DTS or Dolby Digital on their system. So everything you listen to on the Switch, while technically is high quality, it can't do some of these newer upper level formats. So everything is going to be as high quality as possible whenever you choose that. And of course it does surround, I think it does monorail and stereo, which if you don't know what mono is, I've shown students that whenever like we're looking at video games, and every now and then I'll do like a Smash Brothers day at the end of a project before a report card and everybody's done. And
mono is a contagious disease that you get from drinking after or kissing somebody that has it.
Okay, well that's true too. But it used to mean that it was only one soundtrack. So, only one speaker. Stereos, 2 of course, 5 point... Anyway, surround. Switch doesn't have a whole lot of choice. The Xbox One X has a ton of choice. And I was really confused. And I'm still somewhat a little bit confused, but I'm going to tell you what I've learned. They have uncompressed stereo, which is through the HDMI. This is all, by the way, under the Bitstream option. You can choose the Bitstream option or the LPCM option on the Xbox. Okay. Generally, they suggested Bitstream out on all the stuff that I was looking for. Because you can also do Atmos, but you can do uncompressed sound too through there. And the LPCM does uncompressed also. But the thing that I've found that people have suggested is to do uncompressed 5.1, or if you have a 7.1 sound, do that for your games. Because there's only like 5 or 6 Atmos enabled games. Okay? You can do Dolby Atmos on your Xbox, but mostly that's going to come into play if you're playing Blu-rays off of it. Okay, the Xbox can also do all the fancy DTS, the Dolby Digitals, only through HDMI, only through Bitstream. The fancier stuff won't happen through LPCM out, and it won't happen through optical out. You can only do Dolby Digital and DTS. And if you try to ARC with it, as I found out, that's all you can do too. So that's pretty much what's going on with the Xbox. And the PlayStation is pretty similar. They've got some interesting choices too. They have AAC, which is kind of like, basically think similar stuff to the Xbox before we get to AAC. Except they don't have the uncompressed options. Now, the uncompressed options may be just the LPCM choice anyway. But they have, through the HDMI, linear PCM, LPCM, or Bitstream. And then they have the optical out, too. Similar kind of stuff, except for through the HDMI on the PlayStation 4. They have AAC, which is basically an improved MP3. It's going to be the choice you don't want to pick. Okay? Because MP3s are highly compressed. AAC is just a little less compressed. It has DTS in 5.1. It has Dolby Digital in 5.1. but there's nothing that officially says like your speakers are only going to run uncompressed audio. And then the optical will only encode Dolby Digital and DTS, and that's being encoded through the system. So you could put it out to your AV receiver and it does the stuff like that. Now, why in the world am I going off on this random tangent on audio other than I had to do way too much research for bleeding edge tech?
Because you're obsessed with dumb things that nobody cares about? Oh!
Nope. It involves splashing water.
Huh? Like on Jurassic Park?
No, okay, so I was noticing whenever I was playing Sea of Thieves, for the first time, like I plugged in the system, I did uncompressed 5.1 sound. This is before I did the research. That was just my choice because I knew uncompressed is usually good, right? But I noticed the visuals were off, and my wife was like, I don't see anything different. It's like, there's something wrong here. I was right by the end. But the sound was amazing. Like, whenever you would hear the water hit the deck as you're going on the sea, it sounded like somebody was in my living room splashing water on the ground. Whenever I switched it up, though, and I plugged it up directly to my TV, the Xbox to the TV, then that sent it to the AV receiver, I noticed, well, it doesn't sound that way anymore. Something sounds off. It doesn't sound like it has any depth to the noises. And so that's really what set me off on this quest. One, I noticed something was up. And honestly, if you don't know what you're looking for with the HDR, but you can find out if you listen to our previous episodes where I did a Nerd Alert, which we called a deep dive back then. But if you don't know what you're looking for, you'll miss these things. I'm wondering how many people are not using, but have the capability of, optimal audio and video setups because of stupid user interface designs like the Onkyo that I purchased. So, anyway, so that is our Nerd Alert. And we are going to jump into our closer and end this very long episode.
Oh god, I just woke up. What year is it?
It's still 2019. Okay, Rowdy. Hey, good news.
What's up, man?
We have hit 1,000 downloads.
That's pretty awesome. I mean, I know we've been doing this for almost, 9 months now? We've been doing
No,
this?
actually, we started it. We started in January 1st, but then we took a 3-month leap. We didn't do our next episode till March.
Was it really that long?
And most of our stuff has been downloaded starting in June.
Okay, so not bad.
So technically, I should have pulled up the analytics, but I will now so Rowdy can see. Okay, technically, we have, and this is just on our transistor stuff, starting in June, we actually tripled the amount of listens we'd had since January. And then after that, it just kept going up. So right now, we're sitting at over 1,000 listens or downloads through Transistor FM. We have been in a whole bunch of countries, mostly the U.S. with 93% of the listeners. We've been in Canada, France, Germany, United Kingdom, Italy, Turkey, China, Japan, Philippines, New Zealand, and Brazil. There might be Brazil. There might be some more that I'm missing. I think Cyprus. Yeah, Cyprus. There it is. It's hard to find on a map. But thank you in Cyprus for listening. And we're on all sorts of formats. We actually just got added to Breaker Audio, and I'm still working on iHeart Radio. And we have one episode that almost has 100 listens to it itself on the episode 4 Sony State of Play. Now, we've gone from nobody listening in a first month to quite a few people. Now, what we are kind of looking to do, our next big goal is to hit 500 downloads in a month. So we're on track for that this month, even though that's literally 50% of everybody that's already listened right now.
Yeah.
We're releasing a lot of stuff this month, so maybe it'll happen. But at 1,000, I said I was going to open a Discord, and it is there. If you want to check out the Lamer Gamers Discord, it is open. Big shout out to some of our friends, which I've mentioned in this podcast, What the Famicom, Regen E Racing, and we've had some other people like Gamers Head Podcast and others, Transistor FM, and the Pod Hunt app people have been real big in spreading our show, and I appreciate them joining in. So, what I wanted to do for this Discord was, a lot of the Discords out there they're gaming focused, but I wanted it to be kind of like almost a Cheers environment. Like you can go to, you can talk to people after work, sneak it in during your break, and not necessarily worry about some crazy stuff being put on the screen.
But Kelsey Grammer's not allowed.
Yeah, he's not anymore. Yeah, we had to let that guy out of there. It's messing with our heads. I'm going to try to do a monthly game night where we stream it. I've done this with another Discord, so they might join in the party sometimes. Also, there is place for memes. Granted, we're trying to keep it as safe for work as possible.
Yeah, we're both I'm very foul-mouthed, but we try and keep this fairly safe for work, so you could listen to it whenever.
Yeah.
I think I have let a hell out.
We've let some things slip occasionally, but we're trying.
But we do our best to keep it safe for you.
We need a button, but that takes real work and an actual setup.
Yeah.
This is literally like we're at a desk and there's one microphone.
Now look, if
and a lot of background noise.
If I'm on the live stream, I cannot guarantee safe for work.
Yeah. So, anyway, there is a news stream that's built into this Discord, and I have sections for podcasters and streamers. If they want to share an episode of theirs once a day, they can do that. Because we've had so much help from other people that I kind of wanted someplace where people can share their work too. So, next big goal, hopefully 500 downloads this month. Our main big goal that we need to do is 1,000 downloads per episode. Because that point we can put real ads on there, which I know you are thinking, oh, ads. But hey, we would like to eventually make money at some point and not work ourselves to death to run these things. So it's a thing, but there are some ideas. Rowdy and I were talking before the show. We're going to be doing our 2 big shows a month. We're on a pretty good clip right now with the show every 2 weeks, and we have plenty of stuff to talk about in those time frames. But you were talking about some new ideas for side quests that we're thinking of.
Yeah, I want to try to do 3 shows a month, so I could record every other weekend because of my work schedule. It's basically I work 7 days on, 7 days off. So I do mostly everything during that week. But what we want to try to do for a 3rd show is just kind of a wild card kind of thing. Something that's not necessarily time specific like our podcasts are. We record them on a Saturday and release them on the Monday afterwards. The reason we do that is because there's time sensitive information in there.
Yes.
So we try to release that. So what we're talking about doing for a 3rd podcast is along the lines of a spoiler cast. Right now, I'm 5 pages into writing a Fire Emblem spoiler cast for us. Also, we're thinking about doing reviews, but we want to bring something new to the review system. We want to try and stay away from a number system.
Everything gets a 7 or more.
Well, yeah, because
we don't want to do that.
When you do a number system, it people get really offended if it goes one way or the other, even if it's by a point. Basically, what we want to do for our reviews is point out what we liked, what we didn't like, and then give it a description at the end. Is the game a dog turd? Is it a dumpster fire? Is it
the best thing ever?
Yeah, we want to do something like that.
And I do also want to think about stress level in game.
Yes, that's a big part of it.
Will it fit into your work life? And that's a big part of our podcast too. Is how we're all gamers, but I've talked to people as we're getting older. There are some games that you just won't touch after you hit 30.
Oh yeah.
There's some games you won't touch after you've done a 40-hour work week or a 60 or 70-hour work week like we put to the side all the time. So yeah, that's going to be a big thing. How we're going to look at these games when we do a review, and they probably won't come out extremely regularly because we got to still work.
Yeah. Now we may do. If one of us played a game that we feel very passionate about, we may do a review by ourselves. We're also going to try to get in some guests. I was looking at. You guys let me know if you would like to consider this, but I was going to interview a local fire department and how they actually use first-person shooters, battle royales, games like that as team-building exercises.
Oh, yeah.
In their fire department. Also, if you guys like the nerd alert that we did this time, troubleshooting the audio and visual aspects, well, it was mainly audio.
Yeah, but I mean, technically, the HDR one that I did in the past was definitely in the same genre.
Yeah. Let us know how you feel about that. We could turn nerd alerts into whole episodes, maybe.
Yeah, that way you can avoid them. I mean, listen to them if you like technical stuff.
But we're working on an episode about streaming. Seeing as streaming may be the next big thing in gaming, I've recently been taking and streaming at other places to see how well my PlayStation, Xbox, and PC can stream. I can just take my Switch with me. That doesn't matter.
And that's playing the game stream from your house network.
Yes.
Not putting it on Twitch or the other ones.
Yes,
Mixer,
my bad. Forgot to do
live, all the other things.
But yeah, so let us know if any of that sounds like a good idea or something you would be interested in so that we can start working on this one side quest per month that we can put out.
Because honestly, the nerd alerts are, as lengthy as they are, they're actually kind of simplified. Like, I left out a lot of stuff for the audio that I could have put in. Like, if you really wanted to get into it, audio gets crazy and everybody's unhappy about it. And we could start talking about, when we get into these deep dives, what are, like, the debates going on online and what are people's thoughts on it. So, those are all things that are coming up. Let us know what you want to hear, what you want us to do on these side quests, because even though it's not necessarily the main journey that we're on with this, the side quests are always fun.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just how it is. So, that's about all I got for today's episode.
Yeah, that's about it, man. Follow us on everything that Travis said, because I can't remember them all.
Twitter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Discord. All the players. Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Himalaya, Breakers. Okay, so SoundCloud. Seriously, guys, we're about to change up SoundCloud, though. SoundCloud. SoundCloud? Clown? Sad Clown. Sad Clown is... I hate it. You're limited to a certain amount of audio that you can put up. It's not very good for podcasts, so... I don't know if we should talk about this. Rowdy and I were kind of discussing in the future about putting our songs onto the SoundCloud with the extended versions.
I'm thinking about putting basically the Lamer Gamers podcast mixtape up.
Yeah.
If you like the music that we put out for our little segment changes, I could put up longer versions of them because all of these songs, I basically just make them as jingles. But if I like them, I create full song versions of them that I may possibly use later for other projects. But just, that may go up as a free-to-download mixtape. I may put it on Bandcamp as well. Yeah. But it'll still be free.
And we'll have like an advertisement for the show there. But honestly, it's not going to be the place where we put up the podcast because we can only put up like one. And like this episode's going on forever. So we... might not be able to put up one. So
hey, we're almost at the 2-hour mark.
Well, I think we've passed the 2-hour mark, honestly. All right, guys, that is it for the day. It's the Lamer Gamers podcast, and
all right, have a good one, guys. See you next time.
We're out.